Welcome back to our channel. Today we're diving into Max Verstappen's tough weekend in Hungary, where Red Bull's strategy may have cost him more than just a podium finish, with McLaren closing in fast and tensions rising within the Red Bull team. Could this be a turning point in Verstappen's career? Stick around as we explore the drama, the decisions, and what it all means for the championship race. A miserable weekend was had by Max Verstappen while he was in Hungary. After experiencing a great deal of difficulty with his team, he ended up in 5th place, despite the fact that they had made expenditures that were intended to put them back on top. A player from the Netherlands was dissatisfied with the Austrian team's strategy, which they nearly never failed to execute. Nevertheless, we have seen how much that might cost him, particularly considering the fact that he scored the majority of the points in both conferences. However, due to the fact that McLaren is so close behind him and possesses a package that is compatible with each and every track, could this be the first indication that Verstappen is considering leaving Red Bull? The Austrian Grand Prix exceeded expectations from the very first lap of the race. Verstappen was instructed by his crew to give back the position he gained by passing Norris from the outside of the track during the first turn. This was due to the fact that Verstappen believed he was in front of Norris at the apex of the circuit. Red Bull, on the other hand, was not willing to take any chances. Verstappen became enraged as a result of this, and he then stated that from this point forward he ought to be pushing drivers all the time and then simply trying to get the position back. It is very evident that Verstappen is under a great deal of strain due to the fact that Piastri was already making significant headway ahead of him before he handed Norris the position. In addition, the Dutchman was unable to keep up with Norris's MCL 38 when he let him go, which is another reason why he believes the package in Hungary was insufficient. The strategy that Verstappen had in mind with regard to the tires did not work out for him since his team left him out a little bit longer than Hamilton did. In addition, Hamilton was almost 1 second behind the three-time world champion while he was on the medium tires on the first complete lap. It was obvious that Hamilton had a documented strategy for a probable hit, which he executed flawlessly. He was able to achieve their goal. During the year 2021, there were instances in which Verstappen and Hamilton came perilously close to colliding with one another, which caused Hamilton to experience a sense of melancholy. Over the course of the final few laps of the race, Verstappen was unable to maintain control of himself that time. Despite the fact that Verstappen had saved enough tires for the third run to attack Hamilton, he did it in an excessively rapid manner. This was due to the fact that he had the impression that he was being pushed once more, which caused him to stop a little bit late and collide with the 7-time world champion near the beginning of the turn. He attempted to pass Hamilton a couple of circuits earlier, and this transpired during that attempt. To tell you the truth, Verstappen ought to be thankful that the actions he took did not do any damage to the vehicle and that he finished the race in 5th place. The impact on the ground may have been far more severe, and he might have even been forced to withdraw from the competition. Nevertheless, Verstappen started saying that Hamilton was responsible for driving below the braking zone. However, even Gianpiero Lampiasi, who is known to be the most composed person in the world, appears to have lost his cool with the Dutchman. One of the things that GP said in response to what Max had said was, "I'm not even going to get into a radio fight with the other teams. Things are going to be taken care of by the servants. It is absurd to act in such a manner on the radio. Poor quality." According to rumors that circulated a few races ago, Red Bull was unable to compete with Verstappen because they were afraid of him. As a peculiar turn of events, it occurs shortly after Marco extended his contract with Red Bull until the year 2026. This extension, in a sense, ensured that the 3-time world champion would continue to be affiliated with the Austrian team. Regardless of the circumstances, Verstappen was not pleased with the plan in any way. The fact that he was instructed to save the medium tires for the third stint, together with a sarcastic message from Lampias, was a wonderful way to get things started. It was a bad performance by Verstappen on the radio when he said, "No, don't give me that stuff now, it's okay. You guys just handed me the plan, right? For the love of God, I am making an effort to preserve what is here." Even before the second pit stop, Verstappen was certain that his team had damaged his race with the plan, which typically helps them out because the tires perform better in hot weather. Verstappen was certain that the plan had ruined his race. When pressed to elaborate further on this topic, Verstappen responded on the radio by saying, "It is quite impressive how we let ourselves get beaten and ruin my race completely." It is important to keep in mind that he did not use the word ruins, considering that you are familiar with Verstappen and that you enjoy racing. Because Verstappen used a lot of unpleasant and explicit language which we do not want to share with you, we modified some of the terms in the statement. You should be aware of this fact. Mercedes has been able to defeat Red Bull, and Ferrari came dangerously close to defeating them. Additionally, Verstappen ought to be extremely grateful that his collision with Hamilton did not result in him being forced to stop, which would have resulted in him losing a significant amount of ground in the Drivers' Championship. They instructed Norris to give Piastri the lead, which he did without the Brits' fault, because the Brits then defeated Piastri and put Norris in the lead in the race. Piastri then won the race. Instead of attempting to gain 7 more points in the Drivers' Championship, McLaren has made the decision to take a more progressive approach. However, the Woking Bay team is now confident that they have the greatest package that is capable of working on all different kinds of circuits. This has become a major concern for Red Bull as they move forward. Perez was able to recover a considerable number of points and finish 7th in the race, despite the fact that he started at the 3rd position on the grid. McLaren's 1-2 result, on the other hand, has cut Red Bull's lead even smaller, as the Austrian team now only has a 51-point lead over the Woking Bay team in the Constructors' Championship. McLaren's finish was both 1st and 2nd. Given that Ferrari is only 67 points behind, the difference between them is not that significant. Mercedes went on to demonstrate that the heat will not have an impact on how well they perform in races, and they did so by improving their performance. Russell had a fantastic race as well, finishing 7th, and he was also out in the first qualifying round. On the whole, it appears like Red Bull is facing a great deal of difficulty. While the drivers were participating in the parade that took place before the race, Verstappen stated that his team does not possess the pace necessary to fight with McLaren. In his statement, he stated that the reporters must have been looking at data that was different from what the club possesses. The most terrifying aspect, however, is the aforementioned transaction ought to have been the one that rescued Red Bull's season. The statements that Marco made were extremely upbeat, and it was anticipated that Verstappen do not have any trouble winning the race. Although Verstappen's P3 start was impacted by Tsunoda's red flag that was displayed 2 minutes before the end of the 3rd qualifying round, the Dutch driver did not demonstrate much speed in order to pass the MCL 3.8. Over the next 4 weeks, the driver's title is likely to become even more intriguing than it already would have been. It is clear that Red Bull has made a fair amount of progress in catching up. Over the weekend, Verstappen issued a warning to us about this matter, stating that he cannot simply assert that they have reached their limit and that the RB20 is no longer capable of achieving any more improvement. The statement that Verstappen made when he discussed this matter in greater detail was as follows: "I believe that not everyone on the team is aware of what is going on when I'm around. People are aware that I don't make excuses for myself. Always honest is how I am. People could require a little bit of a wake-up call. Therefore, it is abundantly evident that Verstappen needs to give careful consideration to his future at Red Bull if he wishes to maintain the team's current winning streak in the championship. Since a very long time ago, the Austrian team has not been defeated in 3 consecutive races. When Verstappen makes errors of this nature, there is no other driver who can clean up the mess and score high points. This is a concern for teams such as McLaren, Ferrari, and Mercedes, since they are unable to find a replacement driver. We observed that they won a significant number of points in the Constructors' Championship by competing in close races. When they competed against Verstappen and Red Bull, they also carried out their strategies and placement effectively. The final 9 races of the season are likely to be the most intriguing section of the rest of the season, taking into consideration everything that has been said. When it comes to the recent developments of Red Bull, there is one squad that would be extremely pleased with how things have been going. He has no intention of giving up on his pursuit for Verstappen. He also stated that he is at the point in his career when he needs to be winning races and titles in order to further his career. Now it is up to Mercedes to demonstrate that they are capable of providing him with the resources necessary to accomplish that. Due to the fact that Marco, Washer, and Horner have all stated in recent weeks that changes are on the coming and should be significant, All of this is a wonderful script for Verstappen to leave Red Bull amid their performance slump. Because of this, Verstappen is leaving Red Bull. On the other hand, it is very evident that the Red Bull is no longer the best car, and it appears that we have entered the age of the McLaren once more before. It is highly likely that Verstappen will wake up at Spa, which is one of his favorite races, if the Woking Bay team finishes first and second with the best possible results. In spite of this, it appears that he is going to settle for the fifth engine, which would result in him falling 10 positions below the line. In light of the fact that he has not been particularly good in qualifying as of late, it is not a given that he will start in 11th place if he is assigned the fifth engine. Furthermore, it is quite possible that Perez's poor performance will persist at least through the events that take place on Saturday. Indeed, there is a great deal at stake in this game. How do you feel about the fact that Verstappen had a valid reason to be angry? As an additional point of interest, do you believe that the Dutchman has begun to comprehend the fact that he no longer possesses the fastest car? To say that the team would have been lucky to be a middle unit at best would be an understatement with his desire. Please let us know in the comments section, and then proceed to click on the movie that is currently displaying on your screen. Thanks for tuning in. Do you think Verstappen had a right to be upset with Red Bull's strategy? And is this the beginning of the end for his dominance with the team? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.